Alrighty, welcome back. 2025, episode 1 of Life at the Outpost. Your All Cowboys, Everything Cowboys, recorded from right here in Cowboys country in Townsville. Doing it a little bit different for round 1. We aren't at the table, we aren't there in person, we aren't even on video. So, how do you know we're even doing this? But, yeah, remotely doing it over Discord this week. A little bit of scheduling stuff going on, and time being a premium. I would have liked to think I had a bit of time back at football season just to watch it a bit more and get back into it, but unfortunately, time waits for no man. How did you go over round 1 with the Cowboys and whatnot, Mitchy? What were your thoughts on that first game?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, it's never really a nice one when copping a loss like that, right off rip.
No.
It's always a bit brutal, but I suppose it's a bit of living you learn, really. But there's so many people we've lost, so many changes. It's probably going to be a little bit of time before we find a bit of cohesion with things again. But I think overall, the biggest thing for me is the defense again. I mean, we hopped on it all last year. We hopped on it all the previous year. It's just defense again.
Yeah.
In fact, it feels like it's gotten worse, which is kind of surprising because I didn't really think it could get much worse than it was. But here we are. We're in fact again, yes, worse. So,
Back again at square one somehow.
yeah, somehow I don't know how that's happened, but hey, that's not for me to work out. I'm just an armchair expert. It's up to Toddy to fix that one. So we'll have to see how that goes. Look, I suppose there is. Geez, was there any real positives from this game? Let me try and find one. The fact that I have to say that, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, look,
Definitely a rough opener
it's
for round 1 anyway, for your first one, especially after. I mean, what we'd seen was pretty neither here nor there in the trials and whatnot. We had some positives in that with
we
young
also
Duffy,
ended
but
the year. We also ended the last year on a pretty positive note, So like to open
yeah,
with that was pretty tough
yeah,
going, but
definitely didn't feel like it was picking up where we left off, and for obvious reason, we'd lost a few big names and whatnot there, but yeah, I don't know, just quite tough of a watch. I think there was a little bit of the inexperience put on show and taken advantage of, which you would expect any team to do.
but especially of the likes of DC and Turbo, they're masters at doing stuff like that, and they really
Yeah,
proved that. So
yeah, just skilled at their job, skilled technicians, but just yeah, obviously young fellas like Duffy. Duffy didn't. I mean, obviously didn't have a blinder. He didn't have an amazing game, but didn't have a horrible game either. But the likes of young Purdue as well, getting tested a bit by some big bodies and whatnot. They sort of just ran at him all game and made life hard for him. But I'd say we probably knew that was going to happen. The one that surprised me was um, Nanai getting swapped sides, got swapped over to the left instead of the right for some reason. Bateman
and then
playing on the right there, I
which was
guess.
not okay. So that was shocking to start with, but then all of a sudden that game happens, and now he's dropped.
Yeah, dropped altogether, and I mean, no word of injury or something. I'm sure if there is something there, we'll hear about it or we'll find out about it. But yeah, there's a few interesting sort of scenarios there from that round 1. Yeah, taking nothing away from the Eagles, they definitely had a great game, but yeah, we just sort of seemed all over the show and just like we were helter skelter, like on tilt for almost all of the game. It felt like they were just absolutely peppering us. Burns, I thought, didn't do too bad, filling in for Felt there. So
I think he's had a few games with us under his belt already, but
yeah,
even last year he was having a blinder, like an absolute blinder. I think we
definitely.
probably need to go back to the drawing board, whether it's center wise or whether it's wing wise as well. I'm not really 100% sure what we're gonna do, but I'd like to probably see maybe Murray. Maybe Murray puts on a bit of size and moves into the centers. or just takes a back seat. I'm not really too sure what the answer actually fully is, but I think Robert Derby is the one who we need to be putting out on the wing.
Yeah,
And getting him game time, especially while we're new, while we're fresh right now, with a lot of new faces and stuff like that. I think we really need to be blooding him properly, getting him experience. That's probably the big one for me. I think that really needs to be flagged. Whether that means Murray takes either a backseat or puts on size and goes into the centers, I'm not too sure. But he just doesn't have. It's almost like he doesn't have the speed or the power to compete. Well, it's hard to really ascertain if that's the case or if he just truly was fully exploited by how powerful people like Ola Kawatu and Garrick really are. But
yeah, they definitely. We're sort of flush, and we're in a somewhat. Although it does make it a bit harder because you can't just lock down or pin a setup, but we're pretty flush with outside backs and whatnot, as we've known they've signed over the last 12 months or so. Braden Burns, as we're just talking about, he's quite good. He's a bit of a journeyman, but he did quite good there and did quite good last year. So don't mind seeing him on the wing, but he's another one who can possibly play centre or something as well. But
I think I
we
would
do
like
still.
to see Burns continue as a winger though. I think he's probably our future for now. I think it's him. And I think it's Derby, but Derby needs to get pulled in.
Yeah, but then as well, yeah, Derby and Paulo, Jackson Paulo. You got the likes of, as well as actually,
Make a great point on Paulo too. Paulo is someone who could probably as well.
don't know why it's not coming to be at the moment, but Laybut, sorry, Laybut, he
Yeah,
comes back. He's just
how is
come
his
back, or
ACL though?
he's been named to come back. So not with the Cowboys, but in lower grades. So he'll be someone in the next, I would imagine, probably month or so that may come back into the fray because that was his spot initially last year before he got injured. So whether he comes in and takes back over from Purdue or something, I don't know just yet. Or even Valea, who knows? We don't know what will happen with the positions just yet, but you would think Purdue would be the first to go there. And then as well as Valame. Valame is another one we've still got for a bit too, who didn't do too bad when he first got that shot as well. So we're pretty flush. We've got a fair few options. Derby's one where I think people are definitely keen to see him. Get given a shot, definitely. But there have been those few scenarios as well, mainly in the trials, I think, where he just sort of got shown up a bit, or he had that lack of inexperience sort of was on show.
Yeah, lack of
But
experience, like from a defensive perspective. I think.
yeah,
I think
ball
he
control.
knows. I think he knows how to get a ball and do something crazy with it. I think he's very good at that.
Yeah,
It gives you that sort of Tyrone Munro flair that the Rabbits have now suddenly got.
yeah,
But I think he does have a little bit to go on defense. Yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah. Still a bit of his game to pick to obviously work on that. But that's again one thing that he hasn't had that many of first grade games at all. So it's just something where he'll need that time, and he isn't really tested just yet. But yeah, you're not wrong. He's or even like another Coates sort of thing could possibly be a Coates for us in the future after a little bit more experience in that and a bit more confidence and whatnot. But yeah, we are definitely flush for those positions we've lost people in. Definitely flush, so that we may still see a fair few changes throughout the year, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later they find one that it's going to work for us. But yeah, Purdue definitely getting put on notice and getting exposed a little bit there, unfortunately, and not the biggest of fellas, so not hard for it to happen. But yeah, they did have a field day down that side, unfortunately. Um, yeah, Duffy again. Duffy, not a horrible game by any means, but didn't really light the world on fire. I do like to think I'm still pretty impressed with whether it be him or even why is it not coming to me again? I'm having a proper mind blank this week. Young. I'll get it in 2 seconds. Sorry, I had it right in front of me. Clifford. I do like to think with him or Clifford, we've got some better kick options, fifth tackle options, and a lot better kicking when they're in the sides. So that's the one positive I think that still sort of stuck around and that they've brought to it. I just think maybe there was a little bit of pressure once the Eagles sort of got on a roll on that. I think the pressure might have got to him a little bit and just made it a bit tough on him. But yeah, something where he's going to need a little bit of time now that he's getting that opportunity in that role, just to see if it is right for him or it is time for him just yet. So something I think maybe in the coming rounds we'll find out. And then again, if it's not right, back to the drawing board, and maybe Clifford will step back in as he was at the end of last year. So yeah, it was pretty disappointing all around. Even Bateman was one where I didn't really have an expectation, especially after we signed him. Didn't do horrible, but also wasn't sort of, as from what I'd heard, the rumblings I'd heard early, which was all positive, and we thought he was gonna do quite well. Didn't really do anything for me just yet, but yeah, who's to say he won't? After round 2, 3, 4 even.
I think actually, look, I think one of the other things for me, I wonder how Tom would go in a fullback spot as well. There's so many options to really explore. I liked, there was a lot of things I liked defensively about what Tom Duffy was offering. But one of the things that I didn't like was seeing, I think in the first 5 minutes or so, Scotty Drinkwater getting absolutely steamrolled by Olakau'atu.
Again. Not catching a high ball again.
Yeah, just getting absolutely steamrolled, but then going missing for the rest of it. You didn't see him try and contest any other like tackle, like trying to tackle someone and save and try save. Which is it's part of your key role as a fullback to sort of be there. You're the backstop, and yeah, they might still score, but you're still the backstop that has to actually be there. And the fact that he wasn't there is
probably one of the big criticisms of the last year, at least anyway, as well, with him, where when he does have his games, he is amazing, but then there are those key areas like that where he just sort of sometimes he's just not on, whether it's out of position or something like that, and the attacking teams identified it and absolutely made mincemeat of it. Or he is there. He gets there and then just gets absolutely bumped. So it's just one of them things. It's going to be, I think, seems to be ongoing. So whether they turn it around this season or not, I don't know. But yeah, you're not wrong. Whether be through injury or anything, swapping the side around. Maybe Tom Duffy could slot into fullback. But
I'd just like to see them look if they're gonna get pummeled this season. I just think they need to focus on trying to work on the defense, but then try different things. Just try different things, because there's so many things. They've got so many players that can play so many different positions, which is kind of a privilege for them now.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with so much young blood coming through too. They've got so many options up their sleeve to actually move things around and make some cool like changes and like attempt different stuff. I think that's like part of the biggest thing that I like about what we've currently got. Which it sucks to say, people like it sucks to say that when you see like your old boys like having to move on a little bit because they're not as fast or they're not as strong anymore, and
aging out.
Aging out. That's part of life, really. But like whether it's even if it's like injury and stuff like that too, there's so much like that. But we've got so much young talent coming through, like so much. Like we still haven't seen McKaylee on the field yet. We still haven't seen Polo on the field. We still haven't seen so many, like, I mean, obviously Chester's injured, but like we haven't seen Chester come back yet. There's so many options that we've got up our sleeves. And it's all just in the wings waiting, If we're going to get steamrolled this year, then let's make something of it at least and try and find some cool combos, get some shit working together, try some different stuff.
Yep. And yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously only round 1, but moving forward, if it's something that continues on for a number of rounds or whatever, it'll have to be something you'd think that they've got to start doing. Talking about people getting opportunities and that's a good old segue. You've got Kai O'Donnell this week named in the number 12, so effectively taking Nenai's spot. Nenai drops back to the reserves. So whether there's, I don't know, but because he didn't have the greatest game defensively in that, and he did have a few errors, drop balls and stuff like that last week. He got swapped sides and didn't have that great of a game. Whether there is something going on there, injury or whatnot, who knows? Or maybe that is Toddy's way of just saying, "Hey, mate, this is your job to secure." So he's sort of put him on notice a bit. Who knows? But yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
see
the other
see what
thing there
happens
as
there.
well, right, is I mean, the other thing there as well is that this isn't exactly the first time Nana has been dropped out of a side, whether it
No,
was a discipline, like before a discipline issue as well. And
yeah,
while it's not hasn't been named or talked about, I mean, I'm sure Toddy will get an absolute grilling in his next presser.
oh
Why
yeah,
he's got pulled out. Let's hope it's injury and not discipline, because it would be really kind of sad to hear that he has a discipline issue again.
yeah, yeah.
Um, he's such a great player. For him to have a discipline issue would be kind of tragic, really.
Yeah, just something. Maybe it's a little bit of focus or something. Maybe he's just dropped or whatnot. Who knows? But that's obviously something only the coaching staff and the players themselves will know. So could be that. Could even be something where he was tossing up putting Kai in there as well in round one, but it was an NI spot, sort of incumbent spot. So maybe he gave him a shot. Maybe he was always looking at doing something like that, but it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Hopefully, it's been a while since he's played, I think, NRL. So hopefully he brains it, and God knows we want him to as well. We want someone to. But yeah, obviously,
Such a
hopefully not.
prolific attacker of the ball, we'd love to see him continue
Yeah,
playing.
yeah, and Nenai, hopefully that's right. Hopefully it doesn't keep him out of the side. We do want to see him sort of get back to his best and whatnot as well. Talking about that, we might as well have a quick look at the team list for this week. 4:30 on Saturday up here, we're playing the Sharks, but from 1 to 17, you've obviously got Scotty there at fullback. Nothing's really changed in terms of the backs there. Braden Burns on the wing with Purdue as his centre. Balea at the other centre and Talangi on his outside. Dearden and Tom Duffy make up the halves. Forwards, as you'd expect there, Jordan McLean at prop with Robson at hooker and Sam McIntyre, the other prop. Bateman in the 11 there. Whether, again, thinking about it, obviously he's taken that Nenai's 11. Whether it's maybe, I don't know, suiting him or something like that, I don't know. Maybe they've made that positional change to suit him. Who knows? But it'll be him and then Kai O'Donnell this week, or as it's listed anyway, him and Kai O'Donnell will be the two edge pairings, and Ruben Cotter there at lock, with the interchange being pretty much exactly the same. Lawton in the 14, Edwards 15, Neem at 16, and Hess at 17 there. And then reserves pretty well similar as last week as well, except for Nenai in there this week. Clifford, Nenai, McKaylee, Paulo, and Tamalolo rounding that out. I would think, though, looking at that, unless Nenai comes back into the side, I would think that's probably what that side's going to run out like.
Yeah, and I mean, he's Nanai being named at 19 right now as well.
Mm,
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
yeah,
I mean, Clifford by default has to be 18 because they need him. They need him there in case something goes wrong with one of our 1, 6, or 7.
yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, geez, I tell you, it's a tough go, even still being named at 19.
Yeah, yep.
Definitely got question marks over that, but either way, I think based on what we're seeing there, I don't really think there'll be that many changes. But I mean, I imagine if anything will change, it's Nena to come back in, right?
Yeah, yep,
Probably like an hour before the game or whatever, they'll make their adjustments. But
yep. They'll have
fuck,
to
man.
obviously, I think 3 of them will drop out usually the day before, 24 hours before, I think it is. 3
Yeah.
of them drop out, and then you've got your 18th and 19th men there. That's so I'd say it'll probably it'd run the same sort of thing, you would have to think. But yeah, it's a strong side they are coming up against, with pretty well, I don't think any sort of big changes there. Will Kennedy at fullback, Stone Street on the wing, Ramey in the centres with Iro at the other centre, Mulatalo on the other wing. Braden Trindle, 5'8", halfback is Hines, as we expect. Adam Fanor-Blake, which will be a big one for us, a big issue for us, I should say. Brayley, Oregon Kafusi, Britton Nickera, Tig Wilton, Guinness, Daniel Atkinson on the interchange, Talakai, Braden Hamlin-Ueli, and Tom Hazelton. So it's a pretty big side. And talking about defense being an issue, I think it's going to be a tough one for us. I mean, even being a home game, the odds aren't looking good. The betting odds aren't looking too flash. It's not looking like a blowout. We're not quite at value bet levels yet, but yeah, I mean, results aside, looking at those teams and whatnot, it's pretty
It's going to be a
telling.
tough ask. It's going to be a tough
Yeah,
ask, this one.
yeah, definitely.
I'm mostly concerned about how we're going to deal with their forward pack. They've still
Yeah,
got one of the bigger forward packs of the game currently.
build too, most definitely.
And having to deal with people like Fanor-Blake and the Nut as well. Can't forget the Nut. My goodness, he's a beast. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be a tough ask. And even Oregon, like Oregon Kafusi, has hit the improvement that he has sustained over the space of a whole year has been colossal. He is a nutter. He
very
is a
handy.
huge boy.
Yeah, very handy for him, most definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough ask, but you know what? Faith in the boys. See how we go.
Got to do it. Got to have faith in the boys, even when we know the ship's sinking. We always stay on, right?
That's it.
Yeah, it's a it'll be pretty telling, I guess. If we come out, and even if we get beaten, but if we come out and trot out the same sort of stuff we did last round, then it's something where there's obviously some deeper issues that need to be worked on. But yeah, I think only time will tell with that.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that one.
Anything else in particular for you for the first one? First one back?
I think there's not really a lot to say about that first game. There's not really nothing you want to revisit anyway. I mean,
Yeah. Quick move on and hope for the best. To look to the future.
See what they can do on this next week and see if they can put up something a little bit more. Like, look, even if they get beaten, put up a fight.
Something
Don't just
enjoyable to watch.
Don't just give up. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like it for round one, the first episode of 2025 for us here at Life at the Outpost. Back to usual regular scheduled program next week. We should be back on camera and in person, but hoping for the best result this week, and then moving on the week after, which will be the Broncos. It's another big game on the horizon. Hopefully, we can start to turn it around and have a bit more of a positive outlook for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Alrighty, as per usual, send any questions or any topics, anything you want us to talk about or bring up into the Instagram there, Life at the Outpost, and we will see you in a fortnight. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers.